Joining us now is Representative Andrew Clyde. Congressman, thank you for joining us. He tweeted out, "The American people gets to decide who wins the White House, not the deep state. We must defund the left sham prosecutions against Donald Trump." Republican lawmaker unveils push to block funding for Trump prosecutions, obviously, but this was met with opposition by 16 Republicans. Inexplicably, we will name their names shortly. Actually, we'll get to that second. Congressman, thank you for joining us, and tell us about it.
Well, thank you, Charlie. It's great to be with you. Well, I think it's important that, as you said, the American people decide who our next president is going to be, and not the deep state, not the weaponized government. And we are seeing time after time where the federal government is being used to prosecute a political candidate. That doesn't happen in America. That's kind of the conduct that you see in banana republics, where those in power use their power to prosecute and try and throw in jail their political opponent. So these two amendments, one would defund from the federal level any funds going to the prosecution of a presidential candidate between now and the November 24 elections. Okay, and then the other amendment would do the same thing. It would deny federal funding to any state entity that does the same thing, that prosecutes a presidential candidate. You know, it's very even-handed, both Republican or Democrat. So what I'm trying to do is prevent the process from becoming the penalty here, because that's exactly what the left, the weaponized left, is trying to do, because you can't recover from the process.
So how is this being met by, and I was talking about actually when you tried to defund the FBI headquarters, we'll get to that in a second. How is this being met by your more moderate Republican colleagues?
Well, so far, for those that I have spoken to on the Appropriations Committee and in leadership, it's being met very positively. I think it's the right thing to do. There's still some work to be done, so I'm calling on all of my Republican colleagues to support these amendments. It's going to have to go into the Commerce, Justice, Science appropriation, which has not yet been marked up in our Appropriations Committee. I'm on that committee. And so I'll be offering both of those amendments, and I expect that they will be approved and go into the base text of the bill. But then if we do a CR as well, you know, there's some qualifications for any CR to go forward, in my opinion, then it would have to be part of the CR as well. So I think it's very, very important that that all the Republicans get on board and support these amendments.
So there was also a question about blocking the FBI's new headquarters. And is it true that 16 Republicans got in the way of that, Congressman, when you were attempting to do that? Tell us about it.
Well, that was in the markup for the Financial Services and General Government appropriation. And there is about $670 million that was set aside for the FBI's new building. It's about a little over half the amount that currently exists. The whole project is like $4 billion. It's going to be bigger than the Pentagon in size, which is absolutely ridiculous. The FBI does not need it. So I introduced an amendment to defund that $670 million and to apply that to our national debt to pay off that portion of our national debt. And it did not pass in the appropriations process. We had 16 Republicans that voted against it. Now, I'll tell you that after that vote, there were some that came to me and said, hey, I think I made the wrong vote. And we're going to give them another opportunity when that actual appropriation comes to the House floor. I'm going to introduce the same amendment again. And I think there will be some change of heart, I believe, when it comes to their vote on that amendment on the House floor.
So, yeah, there was a list of 16 Republicans that resisted it. Is that correct? And I want to. Okay, so I want to name them. And if I have the wrong list, correct me. But it looks as if it's Steve Womack, David Valadao, Mike Simpson, Hal Rogers, Daniel Newhouse, Julia Letow, David Joyce, Ashley Hinson, Kay Granger, Scott Franklin, Jake Elzey, Mario Diaz-Balart, Juan Ciscomani, Jerry Carl, Ken Calvert, Mark Amati, and Robert Alderholt. What possible reason could they give you for opposing that?
Well, not a lot of them gave me a reason at all. But, you know, mind you, some of them came to me after the fact and said, hey, you know, I think I made the wrong choice. Why? Because they were hearing from their constituents. The FBI does not need a new building. I mean, they've got $1.2 billion set aside, 670 or so million in financial services, general government appropriation, and another 500 some million in the commerce, justice, science appropriation. So I think these folks will probably take a strong second look when the amendment comes onto the House floor for the FBI bill. And I believe that that there will be some change of votes. I really do. And I hope so, because that's the right thing to do. The FBI have been so weaponized as of in the last couple of years under this current administration. There is truly a two-tiered system of justice here. We are seeing it time and time again when you have the treatment of Hunter Biden, and then you have the treatment of President Trump, and all of those who support the conservative voices that are crying out. So I think we're going to see some different votes here.
So let's now focus on September 30th. This looks to be the big day, right? So a previous Congress punted it to really neuter you guys. So this date has been on the calendar for quite some time. So you're inheriting a previous Congress's funding deadline, September 30th. What are you guys willing to do? Our position on this program, no short-term funding bills, line in the sand. We need to fight. We gave you guys a majority for a reason. Where's your head at? What are the asks? Are you willing? How close to the line are you guys willing to get? Walk us through it.
Well, I'll tell you, first off, we've known this September 30th deadline's been here for a long time. And we promised as Republicans that we would bring 12 appropriation bills out of committee onto the House floor. And I expect us to do that. I expect us to keep our word. I'm on the Appropriations Committee. I'm certainly willing to be there from today until the very end of September so that we can get all these, the rest of the appropriation bills across the finish line. 10 of them have come out of committee already. We've got 2 left to deal with in committee, both the Labor, Health, Human Services, Education appropriation and the Commerce, Justice, Science appropriation. Those are the 2 we have left in committee. But we've got 10 that are available to go to the House floor. Actually, one already has. The Milcon VA passed in July. So we've got 9 that can go immediately to the House floor and get a vote. We need to be doing that to keep our word. Any short-term continuing resolution, though, cannot be an unqualified or blind or what they call clean CR. Otherwise, we are simply promoting the policies and the spending levels of Nancy Pelosi. And that's wrong. I will never support that. And I'll tell you, a significant number of Republicans will not support that either. So that message needs to be heard loud and clear by leadership.
So just really quick, Congressman, and I'm hearing different things, and I've always gotten along with Speaker McCarthy, and I still do. But there's whispers that there might be a vote to vacate. Are you hearing that from other members?
Well, I will tell you that a clean CR or an unqualified CR, it will risk our majority, and therefore it will risk the speakership. I think what you're seeing is the country gave us the majority to change the direction, change the course of Congress. We had the speakers fight in January, which I think fundamentally changed the way Congress operates. And I think that has to continue, or we will truly jeopardize our majority, and we will jeopardize Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. There has to be some qualifications to any CR, like H.R. 2 that we all voted for should be attached to it. We've got to stop the weaponization of our federal government, the Department of Justice, and there can be, in my opinion, no new money for Ukraine, none whatsoever.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Congressman Clyde, thank you for taking the time. We'll be watching very closely. We believe there's been a 110-year war where the administrative state has been able to go unchecked. And September 30th is the first time that we see the mandate from the voters, the majority, to finally defang the beast. So we're with you 100%. Red line, as red as a line can get. Congressman, we're with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Great to be with you.